I was 24 years old when my brothers and uncle gathered in our home to decide the method of my honor killing, whether I would be shot, strangled, or burned alive for the shame I had brought on our family. But as I hid in a locked room on March 12, 2019, listening to them plan my murder for refusing an arranged marriage, Jesus Christ intervened in ways that defied all natural explanation. And what happened in the following 48 hours proved that God's protection is stronger than family honor codes and cultural traditions that demand women's blood. My name is Aisha Malik. I was born in 1995 in a rural village in Punjab province, Pakistan, into a traditional conservative family. My father was a small landowner, and we lived according to strict interpretations of tribal customs and Islamic law. Women in our village had minimal rights, and family honor was valued above individual lives. I had limited education, completing only primary school before my parents decided further schooling wasn't necessary for a girl. My life consisted of helping with household work, learning domestic skills, and preparing for eventual marriage. I understood from childhood that my marriage would be arranged by my family and that refusing would be unthinkable. At age 21 in 2016, my family announced my engagement to my first cousin Rashid, who was 15 years older than me. Cousin marriages were common in our community, seen as keeping wealth and property within families. Rashid was a widower with 3 children, looking for a wife to care for his household. I was devastated by the arrangement. Rashid was harsh and controlling, with a reputation for treating his first wife poorly before she died during childbirth. I had witnessed his temper and seen how he treated women in his household. The thought of marrying him filled me with dread. But expressing opposition to arranged marriages was extremely dangerous in our culture. Women who refused marriages brought shame on their families, and that shame sometimes demanded blood to restore honor. I knew girls who had been killed by their own families for less serious violations of honor codes. For 3 years I tried to delay the marriage through various excuses, asking to wait until I was older, suggesting we needed more time for preparations, hoping something would change. My parents grew increasingly frustrated with my stalling, but they initially tolerated it because Rashid was patient and my father valued family harmony. Everything changed in early 2019 when I encountered Christianity through unexpected means. A Christian family lived on the outskirts of our village, facing discrimination but quietly maintaining their faith. Their daughter Maria, who was my age, had been kind to me during a village event, and we developed a cautious friendship despite religious and social barriers. Maria gave me a Bible in Urdu hidden carefully so no one would see. She encouraged me to read about Jesus, saying he valued women and offered hope to those trapped in oppressive situations. I was hesitant but desperately unhappy, so I began reading secretly at night. The Jesus I encountered in the Gospels was revolutionary. He treated women with dignity, defended them from injustice, and taught that they had worth beyond their utility to men. The contrast with my culture's treatment of women was stunning. Over several months of secret reading and conversations with Maria, I became convinced that Christianity was true and that Jesus offered freedom my culture denied. In February 2019, I surrendered my life to Jesus Christ in secret. But this conversion created an impossible situation. I was now a Christian facing marriage to a Muslim man in a culture where both apostasy and refusing arranged marriage could be death sentences. In March 2019, my family announced the wedding date, April 15th, just 5 weeks away. Preparations began immediately and I could no longer delay. I faced a terrible choice: go through with marrying Rashid while secretly being a Christian, or refuse the marriage and face deadly consequences. I prayed desperately about what to do. Maria and the small Christian community she connected me with advised extreme caution. They said my conversion was between me and God, that I could maintain faith internally while outwardly complying to stay alive. But I kept thinking about Jesus' words that whoever denied him before others would be denied before the Father. On March 10, 2019, I made the decision that would trigger everything. I told my mother privately that I couldn't marry Rashid, that I didn't love him and feared the marriage would be unhappy. I tried to appeal to her mother's heart, hoping she might understand my fear and help me find another solution. My mother's response was immediate fury. How dare I refuse the marriage our family had arranged? Did I want to bring shame on everyone? She told my father immediately, and his rage was even more explosive. He called me ungrateful, disobedient, and a source of disgrace. He demanded I apologize and agree to the marriage immediately. When I couldn't bring myself to agree, my father escalated. He contacted Rashid's family, my uncles and village elders, informing them of my refusal and asking what should be done. In our culture, this wasn't just family matter but community issue. My refusal challenged social order and family authority, and the community had interest in maintaining both. On March 12, 2019, a family council gathered at our home. My father, my two brothers, my uncle and several male relatives. I wasn't invited to participate in discussions about my own fate. I was confined to my room while they debated what my refusal meant and what consequences it demanded. Through the door I could hear the conversation escalating. My uncle argued that I had brought unbearable shame on the family, that people in the village were already gossiping, that our family honor was destroyed. He said that in such cases tradition was clear. The girl must either submit or be removed to restore honor. My brothers agreed. My older brother Hassan said he would handle it himself if necessary, that he would kill his sister to protect family honor because our father was too soft-hearted to do what tradition demanded. The casual way they discussed killing me, their sister and daughter, was terrifying and surreal. I heard my father weakly protesting, saying perhaps they could force me to agree rather than resorting to killing. But the others pressured him, saying that forced agreement wouldn't restore honor, that everyone would know I had initially refused, and that only blood could truly cleanse the family shame. They debated methods. Shooting would be quickest, strangling would avoid noise, burning would look like accident. They were planning my murder as if discussing routine business decision. My own family, who had raised me and claimed to love me, were calmly deciding how to kill me. I was locked in my room with no phone, no way to escape, no one to call for help. In that moment of absolute terror, I did the only thing I could. I fell to my knees and cried out to Jesus, begging him to protect me, to intervene, to save me from my own family's murderous intentions. As my family debated my death downstairs on March 12th, I prayed desperately in my locked room. I had no plan, no resources, and no hope except Jesus. The terror was overwhelming. My own brothers were planning to kill me within hours or days, and no one would stop them. In Pakistani village culture, honor killings were often tolerated or minimally punished, especially when the victim was female and accused of bringing shame. Around midnight, something unexpected happened. My younger sister Zara, who was 16, quietly unlocked my door. She was crying and terrified. She whispered that our brothers were planning to kill me tomorrow morning before anyone in the village was awake, making it look like I had run away rather than been murdered to avoid legal complications. Zara said she couldn't watch them kill her sister, that she didn't care about family honor if it meant my death. She had stolen our father's phone and wanted to give it to me so I could call for help. She said I had maybe 6 hours before morning when they would come for me. I hugged Zara, knowing she was risking severe punishment for helping me. I took the phone and immediately called Maria, the Christian friend who had given me the Bible. I explained the situation desperately. My family was planning to kill me in hours. I was locked in the house. I needed help escaping immediately. Maria said she would contact people who helped persecuted Christians escape dangerous situations. She told me to stay on the phone with her, to pray and to wait for instructions. Over the next hour, Maria coordinated with Christian networks that had experience helping people flee honor-killing threats. Around 2 a.m. Maria called back with a plan. A Christian family who lived 3 kilometers from our village would send their son on motorcycle to a location near our house. I needed to somehow get out of our compound and reach the meeting point by 3 a.m. They would take me to a safe house in a nearby city where organizations helping persecuted women could protect me. The challenge was enormous. I was locked in my room on the 2nd floor. The house doors were locked from inside and my father kept the keys. Guards weren't necessary because everyone assumed I couldn't escape a locked house in the middle of the night with nowhere to go. But Zara helped me again. She quietly unlocked my room door, then went downstairs and carefully unlocked the back door to our courtyard, creating an escape route. At 2:30 a.m. while my family slept, I crept down the stairs through the courtyard and out the back door that Zara had opened. I ran through the dark village in my simple clothes with no possessions except the phone. Every sound terrified me. I imagined my brothers discovering my escape and chasing me down. The 3 kilometers to the meeting point felt endless as I ran through fields and back paths, praying continuously that Jesus would protect me. At exactly 3 a.m. I reached the meeting point, a small road outside the village. Within minutes, A motorcycle appeared with a young man who asked if I was Aisha. I climbed on and we sped away into the night, leaving behind my family, my village, and my entire life. We arrived at the safe house in the nearby city around 4 a.m. on March 13th. The Christian family who ran it welcomed me despite the danger they were accepting. Helping someone flee an honor-killing threat could bring violent retaliation, but they believed Jesus called them to protect the vulnerable regardless of personal risk. I collapsed emotionally once I was safe. The terror of the previous 24 hours, hearing my family plan my murder, escaping in darkness, running through fields fearing capture, overwhelmed me. The family let me rest while they contacted organizations that helped women fleeing honor violence. By morning, my family discovered I was gone. According to Maria, who maintained contact with Christians in our village, my father was devastated and conflicted. But my brothers Hassan and Ahmed were enraged and determined. They saw my escape as compounding the dishonor. Not only had I refused marriage, but I had fled, publicly demonstrating defiance of family authority. My brothers began searching for me with support from extended family and some villagers. They contacted police, but rather than reporting me as a runaway to be returned safely, they spread the narrative that I had been kidnapped or deceived by Christians. In reality, everyone knew I had fled to avoid forced marriage, but the kidnapping story preserved some family honor. For 3 days I hid in that safe house while my brothers searched the area. The Christian family took enormous risks sheltering me. Several times, people came to the neighborhood asking about a runaway girl. The family lied to protect me, denying any knowledge while I hid in a back room praying desperately. Maria brought me devastating news. My sister Zara had been severely beaten when my family discovered she had helped me escape. She was now locked in the house under constant watch. The guilt was crushing. My decision to flee had brought punishment on my innocent younger sister who had only tried to save my life. On March 15th, the Christian network arranged my evacuation to Lahore, where organizations helping persecuted women had more resources and security. I was moved at night to avoid detection, traveling with a Christian family who pretended I was their daughter. The journey was terrifying as I feared being recognized at any checkpoint. In Lahore, I stayed at a shelter run by an organization that specifically helped women fleeing honor violence and religious persecution. Many women there had similar stories, fleeing families who wanted to kill them for refusing marriages, for converting to Christianity, or for other perceived honor violations. The organization explained my options. I couldn't return to my village. My brothers had made clear they intended to kill me to restore family honor, and neither police nor community would protect me. I would need to relocate far from Punjab, possibly leave Pakistan entirely, and start completely new life with new identity. The grief was overwhelming. At 24, I had lost my entire family, my home, my younger sister whom I might never see again, and any possibility of normal life in my culture. I had gained physical safety but at the cost of everything familiar. But I also had Jesus, who had protected me through the impossible escape, provided helpers when I had none, and demonstrated his power over honor-killing traditions that demanded my death. Over the following months, the organization helped me rebuild my life from nothing. I received trauma counseling to process the terror of being hunted by my own family. I learned vocational skills to support myself. Most importantly, I grew in my Christian faith through Bible study and fellowship with other believers who understood persecution. In June 2019, 3 months after my escape, the organization helped me relocate to another province with a new identity. I began working in a Christian school, using the limited education I had to help with basic tasks while continuing my own learning. For the first time in my life, I lived without fear of male family members' control. Today, I work with organizations helping Pakistani women escape honor violence and forced marriages. My experience gives me unique ability to understand their terror and guide them through the dangerous escape process. I've helped dozens of women flee situations similar to mine, connecting them with safe houses and resources that can protect them. My testimony particularly resonates with Muslim women considering Christianity but fearing family consequences. I can honestly tell them that following Jesus cost me everything. My family, my home, my safety, and nearly my life. But I can also testify that Jesus' protection is real, that he provides when everything is lost, and that knowing him is worth any sacrifice. Several women have come to faith after hearing my story. They see that Jesus literally protected me from honor killing, that he provided escape when there was no natural way out, and that he sustained me through losing everything. My survival is testimony to his power over cultural traditions that demand women's blood. I have no contact with my family. According to sources, my brothers continued searching for months but eventually gave up when they couldn't locate me. The family told the village I had died in an accident to save face and avoid ongoing shame of having a runaway daughter. In their eyes and in our community's eyes, I am dead, which is ironically what keeps me alive, since they've stopped actively hunting me. I grieve daily for my sister Zara, who paid a price for helping me escape. I pray she will somehow find safety and perhaps even encounter Jesus herself. I dream of the day I might contact her, but for now, any connection would endanger both of us. The cost of following Jesus was enormous. I lost my family, my identity, and any possibility of returning to my village or living normal life in my culture. But I gained something my culture could never provide. Worth as God's daughter that doesn't depend on male approval, freedom from honor codes that treated my life as expendable, and eternal life that no honor killing can touch. I faced honor killing at 24, hunted by my own brothers who planned my murder to restore family honor. But Jesus Christ protected me through miraculous escape, provided helpers who risked their lives for me, and demonstrated that his power exceeds honor traditions and family vendettas. I should be dead according to cultural expectations, but I'm alive because Jesus defended me when no one else would. That is the protection I testify to, that God values women infinitely, protects those who call on him, and proves that his authority supersedes any human tradition demanding women's blood for honor's sake.